Hey, good morning. This is an update to a story we did on Tuesday. Nonetheless, this is the Justine Damond update on the 19th of June, 2017. We do have updated information here on this particular case. Let me go to the Sydney newspaper here for the update. This is the Sydney Morning Herald in Sydney, Australia. Fireworks may have startled Justine Damond's killer, U.S. police officer Mohammed Noor. The police officer involved in the killing of the Australian woman Justine Damond were startled by a loud noise near their squad car before she was shot at close range. The officer, Mohammed Noor, opened fire on Ms. Damond near her Minneapolis home on Saturday. He's refusing to be interviewed by state authorities investigating the tragedy, but his partner, Matthew Harrity, has given a graphic account of what happened. In the interview with the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, the officer Harrity described how the 40-year-old Australian woman known as Justine Ruszczyk was gunned down. That's spelled Ruszczyk, and I did the best I could there. The officer Harrity was driving with Noor in the passenger seat. Told investigators he heard a loud sound immediately before Ms. Damond approached the driver's side of the squad car. Now, this alley, in some other reports, said that the alley was well lit, in that they had motion detectors, and each garage that she passed, the light would come on. This squad car was in the alley, and in that particular area, I read that it's known that fireworks do go off. In fact, in the dispatcher's audio, which was posted in the last show, and we'll post a link to the last show, you can hear the dispatchers and some officers talking about fireworks, aerial fireworks going off. They heard shots, but the shots were aerial fireworks. Now, as far as the explosion in the alley was concerned, forensics may or may not bring some of that up in that area on Saturday night and Sunday. I don't know if they've been testing for residue from fireworks or not, but there was a tremendous rain in that area, and there was also the visual or demonstration there on Sunday. So things could be disturbed in the area. We don't know. Let me just read the official statement from the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension here. It's a PDF, and we'll attach that. It says for immediate release from the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. The BCA today confirmed the identity of two Minneapolis police officers involved in the shooting incident on the 15th of July, Saturday. The BCA is conducting an investigation at the request of the Minneapolis Police Department. This is dated on the 18th of July, 2017. The officer, Harrity, had been an officer with the Minneapolis PD for 1 year. The other officer, Mohammed Noor, had been an officer with the Minneapolis PD for 21 months. That's a little bit short of 2 years. The Hennepin County, now that's the medical examiner office, on Monday evening confirmed the identity of the deceased as Justine Maria Ruszczyk, 40 of the address here in Minneapolis. She died of a single gunshot wound to the abdomen. The BCA interviewed the officer Harrity earlier today. That would have been on Tuesday. Noor declined, that's the shooter, the killer, declined to be interviewed by agents of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension at the time. Noor's attorney did not provide a clarification on when, if ever, an interview would be possible. According to preliminary investigation, the officers Harrity and Noor responded to a 911 call from a woman identified as Ruszczyk of a possible assault near a residence just after 11:30, 30 on a Saturday. Harrity was driving. The Noor was a passenger in the seat. The officers drove down south through the alley between two streets there, Washburn and Xerxes Avenue, West 51st Street, in search of a suspect. The squad's lights were turned off. As they reached 51st Street, Harrity indicated that he was startled by a loud sound near the squad car. Immediately thereafter, Ruszczyk approached the driver's side window of the squad. Harrity indicated that Noor discharged his weapon, striking her through the open driver's side window. The officers immediately exited the car and provided medical attention until medical personnel arrived. She was, of course, at the scene. The officer, Harrity, told investigators the officers saw a 18 to 20-year-old European male who was riding a bicycle eastbound on West 51st Street immediately before the shooting. This individual stopped at the scene, watched the officer provide medical assistance. BCA agents would like to speak with the person. Anyone else may have witnessed the incident. These individuals asked to contact them at 651-793-7000. Crime scene personnel recovered a mobile phone near the victim. No weapon was recovered. The body cams were turned off until after the shooting incident. The squad camera was not turned on. Investigators are aware of no video or audio of the shooting. Now, this clears some things up through the grapevine on social media. There were some people saying that even if the video was off in the car, the audio was on. That's evidently not the case in this particular device. The BCA investigation does not determine whether law enforcement agency policy was violated. That will be reviewed through the Minneapolis PD internal affairs process. The BCA's investigation of the shooting is active and ongoing. The BCA has briefed the state's attorney or county attorney's office of all evidence and information it has obtained to date, and as does in all investigations, the BCA will present findings without recommendations to the state's attorney for review once the investigation is completed. So this is ongoing. Frequently asked questions. Can the BCA tell us about whether the body camera policies were complied with? Now, that is in the jurisdiction of the Minneapolis PD. Why was one officer interviewed and the other one was not? Under the law, the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, cannot compel testimony of either officer. How long will the investigation take? Understanding the urgency of this case, it is proceeding as rapidly as possible without compromising the integrity of the investigation. And some other questions here. The first officer was interviewed more than 2 days after the incident. Now, this would itself could impact the investigation. And that in itself, they usually like to interview these people right after the incident or debrief them, whatever you want to call it. Can officers talk with other people about the incident before talking to investigators? Well, that is I guess called a gray area according to them. There is no law restricting an individual's right to speak to others after the incident. So in other words, they could have spoke to Joe Blow or anyone else in the area. When can we get the video and other information from the investigation? Under the law in the state of Minnesota, certain information related to an investigation becomes public when the investigation and court proceedings are completed. That was in the same protocol they followed in the case of Philando Castile, a man killed in that metro area roughly about 1 year in the past. So, in other words, this is not an unusual situation for that to have taken that long. Now, we have from the BBC here multiple sightings here. Let me see if I can get this, feed this in from the Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull. Let me just get his in. I believe I can do this.
We are seeking answers to this. This is a shocking killing. It's inexplicable. Our hearts go out to her family. I mean, how can a woman out in the street in her pajamas seeking assistance from the police be shot like that? It is a shocking killing. And yes, but we are demanding answers on behalf of her family. And our hearts go out to her family and all of her friends and loved ones. It's a truly tragic killing there in Minneapolis.
That was the Prime Minister of Australia. And this is a little from a ceremony here. I'll get this all from the BBC. This is a ceremony they had at the home, and it's worth noting that in Australia it is winter now. I don't know if sort of hear this. We are getting this in here or not. Okay. What they're doing here is they're putting flowers into the sea. And I'm not sure if you're getting this at all, but anyway, it was a very short video, and the BBC loud sound, heard loud sound before the shooting. This is a tagline out here, and it's a situation that has literally went around the world. We'll include the broadcast from Tuesday morning because it has the 911 recording. In these types of incidents, usually what happens, we'll have a period where there's usually not a lot of information, but in the case of this particular situation, urgency is there to get it out because of the involvement of many different people in this incident. So when we have as many people involved as we do in this particular incident, the information is placed out to the public as quickly as is humanly possible. This will end our broadcast here. Hopefully this information has cleared up some things, but we still don't have the forensic information. The missing man on the bike, if there was a man on the bike. Those are some of the events coming forward here. And the absence of a police statement. Now, what was not reported here, did the Officer Noor talk to the Internal Affairs of the Minneapolis PD? There's probably certain contractual things involved there that officers have to cooperate with the Internal Affairs. Now, if they don't, that could create some discipline situations. Now, another issue, the body cams, according to the procedure, at least reported, and this is one of the problems, that newspapers report things in these types of cases, but many times they may or may not be accurate. So we sort of have to just wait and see what we are getting here for accuracy. And what we're trying to prevent is reporting something to you that is not accurate, at least the public released information. And if you're getting that from newspapers, watch services, etc., in every major outlet in the U.S. and in Australia, they've had the ABC, that's the Australian Broadcasting Company, has been on the scene out there in the Midwest. And then you have the NBC, CBS's of the world also there, and many, many other outlets are covering this. And of course, it's plastered on social media, Twitter, Facebook, etc., for discussion. So we are seeing those, and the issue is moving forward. This will do it for us on the 19th of July, 2017. Good day from WBRN Radio in Boston and over the Boston Red Networks and the many outlets we have.